Every one of us can dance. Dance is within our body. Then you name it dance, you get scared. But if you don't call it dance and you call movement, everybody likes to move. Everybody will tell a story with the movement, which is why it's important to have movement and choreography in opera, because it's another way of telling a story. Words say something, dance goes straight to your heart. Like music. All the singers are afraid of dance, but then when you take the whole dance away and you let them move, they love it so much. So everybody will be dancing. What kind of dance there is? There's all kind of dance. The big challenge for me is to find what is the best way to let them shine on stage, telling the story I want to say. As long as you serve Offenbach and our idea.
Opera is music and storytelling. But when we talk about movement and choreography in opera, it's very important to understand what it is and how can it help telling the story. Connecting with the music, which is the main thing. If I want to say something but mean something else at the same time, we use our body. So we can say, oh, that doll is very beautiful, but with our body we can, ridiculize it. Dance is not just aesthetic. You meet with the director who's got an idea, you start talking to one another, and you first understand what kind of dance, of movement is right for telling the idea that you have. And then you start building it and creating it. And that's where my role comes in. I come from dance, but I also am a singer. So I came from pure dance, and then I went into singing, and then I went back to opera as a choreographer, and I realized that there is a different way to listening to music. Singers most of the time listen with the head. Dancers listen with the body, and it's very important, the connection to the music. So when you approach a piece of music, most of the time you go underneath the words and you're trying to follow and find the nuances the composer has written, so that you can express this with your body. And music, text, so that you know what's going on, and then you're trying to inhabit with your body and just let your fantasy go, which is my way of creating. This is one of the best opera to do that, because there's a lot of space for fantasy, imagination, creation. It's love, it's fear, it's obsessions, it's all the things that are very pertinent, and also give a lot of space for creativity, which is great.
I am very fantastic. I love to imagine a lot. So when you approach themes like that, fears, it opens a kingdom of possibility for me. How do you go? How do you express it? How do you work with the body? When you talk about fear, when you talk about obsession, when you talk about love, the body changes all the time. And that is very exciting. It's an opera can go, it's long, there's so much happening, and you can go in any direction, anytime. And so dance really, movement more than dance, with the chorus or with the dancers or with the singers, it's so important. How do I get the best out of them? Sometimes you have marble, sometimes you have wood, sometimes you have sand. You have an idea. How do you work with this for your idea to take shape? Not to go to your perfect, because there's not such a thing as perfection, but how can you get the best out of the person that you have in front of you? And in our case, it's 100 people, because you have 16 in the chorus, you have singers, you have dancers, and all the time you approach a person, you have to think, okay, this is my idea. How can this person express it his own best way, not the way I want to see it? And that's the challenge. And then when you achieve that, is a success for me. Even more when you achieve that from a non-dancer, because it's more of a challenge to get something out from someone that has not the skills of the ability of the others, and they manage to feel free, helping you to tell your message and give the audience, feed the audience beauty, which is what is more important for us. Beauty, beautiful music, and a message. So that's the biggest challenge in production like this. Really, I don't like to call them dancers, because nowadays, when we work in theater, I like to work with performers, creative artists. They can dance, they can sing, they can move, they can create, they can juggle, they can tumble, they can sing, they do everything. They're fantastic musicians, but they're great dancers as well. Just great artists. They can help me process what idea we have for the show or the performance. When we start talking about what's a doll today, nowadays, what is plastic today, it's not a doll like moves like that, and what is obsession with sexuality nowadays, and then we went into their world. And when we talk about being shocked, if you put the TV on today, if you watch the news today, what does shock you? So there is a filter in people's brain. They can watch TV and see people being slaughtered and they're not shocked. But they come to the theater and they see a sex doll, they think it's shocking. So that is something that needs to change, like everything else. Everything changes through the time. We don't dress the same way as 200 years ago. We don't eat the same way that 200 years ago. We don't talk the same way. Why can't we not do a doll that is not like 200 years ago? I always compare this work with food, because people are very, very close with food. We don't cook the same way as 200 years ago. Nowadays, we cook in different ways, and the food is different. So if you want to give the food to people nowadays, you have to find a way to make it palatable to them. So the theaters nowadays is dance, is music, is movement, is everything. 200 years ago, you will have a chorus of men singing, "We are drunk, we are drunk, we are drunk, we are drunk." 200 years later, how do you say that? What is enticing for an audience? Young audience, old audience, and that's where dance comes in. So you have to take a piece that it's set many years ago, make it for nowadays, and then here we go, you have cheerleading in a scene where the problem is then most of the time the music is not written for movement. So the compromise with the creative team that includes the conductor is to find a way to make the idea match the music and tell the story for an audience that it's an audience of 2023 and not an audience of the 19th century.